Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, my friends, today too we are going to start the day's talk. May everyone settle down and give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katame tayo dhamma visesa bhagya tini akkusala moolani ti. Dear Venerable Dhamma friends, till yesterday we were trying to understand how to maintain our stream of consciousness free from the defilements. Namely 3 defilements, the greed, hatred and the desire. Whenever greed, hatred and desire is not available, we call it is a kusala moola or wholesome roots. So you have to clearly understand presence and absence of the defilements. There are in 3 kinds, the desire, hatred and the ignorance. The absence is lack of desire or freedom from desire or freedom from the hatred and the wisdom. So they are so close. Usually in the normal language and in the conventional way we think they are very far apart, polar apart, very difficult to go to from that. That is what the situation before the Buddha's enlightenment. People try to understand they are as black and white difference. But there are a lot of grey areas. When we are meditating, we come across not only, I would put it this way, we come across in 5 ways the grey areas. As far as the materiality is concerned, there is one grey area, having materiality, having corporeality, having the concrete nature, or not having, or the space, in between area. The feelings also the same. Pleasurable, painful, a lot of in-between area. Perceptions also the same. And your volitional activities also, whether you are doing or it is happening. A lot of area indecisive. And the vijnana is separated or taking everything as a one system. That's also often happening. So quickly it is shattering off here and there. Very difficult to understand. We see only the 2 functions of the vijnana, that is separated or reductionism or system. But there are some places in between. So you have to go completely prepared. You have to go with the complete understanding of the extremes. And when you go forward only you can understand. Before going to extremes, there are a lot of grey areas and we are utterly ignorant. So much so, the grey area is the majority. Extremes are not up to even 10%. So in the grey area, we are bewildered, we are utterly confused, fantasizing, daydreaming. So in meditation, we take it as a challenge. We take it as something interesting. Something hilarious, something adventurous. To come up to that kind of a level, you must appreciate have and have not equally. You must appreciate the pain and pleasure equally. You must appreciate naming and not labeling equally. You must appreciate what is happening and what is doing equally. You must appreciate the system approach as well as the reductionism equally. So you are not a human at that level. We have been so conditioned, we have been so trained to put into the either, good, black and white, good or bad, doing and happening. So we are not open enough, we are not prepared enough, we are not armed enough, we are not learned enough to how to do when there is a grey area. And our way of life is so lethargic. Our way of life is so escapism. Our way of life is so avoiding the grey area. Not only that, we wish our desire, our dear and near one also, may they not confronted with grey area. That is our way of life. So the Buddha gave completely radical way out. He lived up to that. 45 years, and he uttered, talk, exemplified, reason out so much. After 2600 years, again the Buddha is gone. Again the theory is here. We only see black and white. We never see grey area. We think seeing the grey area is utterly unfortunate, utterly disheartening. So, when we are going from defilement to no-defilements, we have to have not only the black and white, you have to find the middle path. So, middle path is the most hateful thing for normal beings. They are happy with the black and white, and they can fight, and they can talk, and they can make stories, and expect the sympathy from the people, but they never see the in-between area. So we can systematically, we can go into it, but I don't know how much of you are willing to go into that. You may call your endeavorance as meditation, you will call your endeavorance as the mindfulness, but your mindset, your preparedness to the truth is a completely independent issue. But anyway, we will try. Nothing like trying. So, first thing we try to understand is, don't make any movement, no volitional activity. You sit comfortably and keep your mind as much as possible in this protected, appointed benchmark, primary object, applying thoughts again and again to keep it, and it's a task. But it is like learning the mother tongue. It's a challenge, but the baby naturally learning. So therefore meditation world, whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist, they know applying the mind to the one single object, whether it's a convention or something tangible, something verifiable, is the two method. Whenever you are applying the mind to the something convention, that's called samatha bhavana. Whenever you are applying the mind to the something under your very nose, practical, pragmatic and reality, that's called vipassana. So whenever that happens, your mindfulness has two ways. One thing is something upon conventional, something upon agreed upon, something upon concept. And the vipassana is something is tangible, pragmatic, something reality. So for the last 40 years, I am observing people are making so much of excuses to pay attention to the convention, pay attention to something agreed upon, or samatha. So they by accepting itself, they are appointing a limitation. You have to of course go into that, but that is not the end. You have to go beyond, or you have to see through the samatha, and then only you can go to something verifiable, something tangible, something reality. And when that happens, many are not happy to face the life. They are not happy to face the situation. They think they should have the by route, D route, escapism, this and that, through meditation. So I simply call it therapeutic mindfulness. I simply call it healing type of mindfulness. But anyway, during our age, that kind of mindfulness went to the West. It is not due to our effort, something happened. But it is clearly distinct. It is only therapeutic, only healing, only the curative. So that is what the people are known, people are recognizing as mindfulness. But don't think so. There are some people very observant. Why it is only going for this therapeutic side? Because they wanted to have kind of escapism, something like going to samatha, going to concentration. So this is the world. World is with habituation. They are making, if they are addicted to drinking, you keep on drinking. If you are addicted to drugs, you keep on drugs. So if you are addicted to some other kind of meditation, you will addict into that, you will continue. Exactly the same. So with that kind of mindset, or that kind of common sense in the society at large, how can we go into see the relationship between defilements and no defilements, and how to reach that contrast in a systematic way, in a methodical way. So I would say in sitting meditation, whenever you are happy, you are successful with repetitive application of your applying thoughts, and you can verify, or you can, the discursive thought come and says, yes, it's the same object, in breath and out breath, or virtues of the Buddha, or the loving kindness, or recollection upon your death, or the asubha bhavana, repulsivity of your body, whatever may be. You apply, and each and every time you get the confirmation, yes, mind went into that. These are the two functions known as vitakka vichara, applying thoughts and the discursive thoughts. So if you are mastering that, that means you have kind of a adverting power of your mind to one of the other object. As far as you are with that object, you have done away with the rest of the world. You have done away with the tension pertaining to the rest of the world, frustration pertaining to the rest of the world. But the particular object that you have applied, that will give certain amount of frustration and tension. But it's very, very small when compared to the world full of frustration and tension. So imagine one person can go and sit and day by day increase the time associated with primary object and make sure mindfulness is gathering momentum. So whenever such thing happen, you already gain equilibrium, the balance will be distracted and mind will be wandering off, daydreaming because of defilements. So naturally you find to keep defilements at bay and to keep your mind with mindfulness, with the primary object, so much so, someone may come and say at that time there are no defilements. So you may be happy to verify it. As far as mind is face to face with your primary object, pointed object, you are free of defilements. Therefore, naturally, your desire to be with the defilement, be with the primary object, do away with the defilement is very happy. Whenever mind is wandering off, daydreaming, fantasizing, you are making so much of complaints. And because you have a reason, because that is defilement. And with the help of already developed mindfulness, with the help of the already developed skillful roots, when one should ready to face that defilements, hindrances, obsessional kind of defilements. So usually meditators are not happy. They say, no, my path must be without any distraction. Always it must be like a carpet road, highway, without much of a distraction. So that I will say that is the samatha type. They don't expect anything mishap happen. Mind must be always with the primary object. But I thought of introducing the walking meditation, where the yogi is not sitting and waiting, not closed eyes, not in a silent place, but action is happening, walking. And eyes are open. And the sounds also more challenging, maybe outdoor. And wind movements, all the things happen. And when you are happy to maintain the mindfulness with walking, so much of challenges. So many are not happy with walking, or they are not happy to call this as meditation. The meditation is cross-legged, closed eyes, and in a silent place, soundproof place, no mosquitoes, no flies. Everything must be perfect. But imagine that we are supposed to go outside and do walking meditation, and at the beginning you may hesitate. If I am to quote Upanishad Sayadaw, he says, the multitasking people, whenever they get a chance, they never do walking meditation, they consider it as a wastage of time. Their meditation is cross-legged, always closed, always indoor. But now, walking happened. When the walking happened, due to your endeavor, due to your striving nature, imagine you can take few steps. Well, you can see, just like making a garland, one by one flower, you put into the same this thing, you are increasing your familiarity with the steps. While it's happening, seeing is always there. Because you are being asked to open eyes. But look at the downcasted way, about 2 meters ahead. And sounds, volitional activities, everything happen. So when and where it happens, you pull the mind and put into the left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. So that means you are frequent with so much of distraction. So therefore, you complain, it is not a meditation because it is not a concentration. Your meditation means concentration. So therefore, walking is a wastage of time. But by Dhamma talks or by discussions or whatever may be, if you manage to do, imagine one day, I will put it this way, when you are going to the end of the path, during the path, you may imagine that you are successful, you can maintain the walking path, left leg, right leg, heel, the arch, the toes, but when you go to the end, your trend broken, a posture difference, so their mind is often jump to seeing, or often jump to hearing, or smelling, tasting, touching, whatever may be, away from the touch of the soul. So under such circumstances, instead of hating the seeing, instead of hating hearing, if you try to be open to seeing, you know at the end often my mind goes off and not remaining with the sensitivity of the skin, but it can jump without prior notice to the sensitivity of your eye. So as far as your sensitivity is the skin, the ground or the choir mat is what you are getting the contact with. But whenever your consciousness jump into eye, it is not earth element, but the vision is being stimulated by the shape and the color. So now consciousness jump into eye sensitivity, and it is stirred, it is activated by the shapes and the color. So from the leg to the eye, from the consciousness of the skin to the consciousness of the eye, the shifting of the channels. Is it something you can be mindful about? Shifting of the channel? Don't consider it as a mishap. Don't consider it as something wrong. But instead be aware. So, will it be appreciated by Buddha? Or will it be appreciated by Dhamma? Or is it the monk's business? Or is it a mishap? So that is the way many people complain in such a way, my mindfulness broken, because attention is no more with the leg. But instead, there are a lot of occasions in the Sutta Pitaka, Buddha is give it as a challenge. You are supposed to keep your attention with your sensitivity of the leg or sensitivity of the skin, but there are a lot of chances the consciousness can jump into the eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, nose, tongue, other parts of the body. Under such circumstances, what are you going to do? So you have to imagine, when we are talking about the moral restraint, we are supposed to take care about the physical and verbal deeds. So we are under the 8 precepts. So therefore, we are doing away with killing, stealing, sensual misconduct, and lying, slandering, for verbal. And this jumping of the mind from the sensitivity of the skin to eye is a violation of your moral conduct. Under such circumstances, what must be your restraint? Does it come under the concentration restraint? Or it is coming under the wisdom restraint? From the moral restraint, now you are jumping, maybe bypassing the concentration restraint to the wisdom restraint. Is it too much for a beginner? Of course, it's too much. But it is not a avoidable situation. Under such circumstances, with the help of your understanding in mindfulness in sitting, how can you manage to make use this situation to understand the human mind? To understand how, when we are not mindful, it is jumping from eye to the ear to the nose to the tongue. So the Buddha says it is like 6 wild animals tied into, and all the 6 put into one tie, and one is pulling one way, the other one is pulling that way, and the Buddha is given the serpent, the fish, crocodile, and a jackal, and a dog. They are put in. So whenever the crocodile is powerful, it pulls everything to water. When the bird is powerful, everything pulls into the air. When the dog is powerful, everything pulls into the village. When the jackal is powerful, it is into the carnal ground. So likewise the Buddha gives so much of push and pull, and that is what we call unmindful situation. Whenever you are mindful and try to always keep contact with the bodily contact, you can see all the other available things are bombarding through the sensitivities. And when that happens, only thing you can do is regretting. Only thing you can do is the complaint. What a thing, I can't do no walking meditation because of visual objects. I can't do because of sounds. So blah, 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 blah. So when you are turning, of course, you are very vulnerable. So now we are going to consider, imagine you have a mindfulness well diversified. Even if it is going there, you never consider this as a challenge, never consider as something wrong. Consider as a challenge. Okay, I will see how it happens. So that means we are nearing the end of your walking path. You understand that there are chances the mindfulness or the attention will jump into the either seeing objects or hearing or smelling, tasting, touching, and don't complain and see which one is the most efficient thing to put you from the undefiled situation to the defiled situation. Eye or ear or the nose or the tongue or the body. After long time of experimenting, the Buddha says, eye is the culprit. Whenever you give equal chances, eye is always take you for a ride, and we give the chance to the eye. Whenever eye get failed, the next candidate is the ear. And then the nose, the tongue and the body. So now you try to keep with the minimum one, the body. And all the other stimuli and the objects are there. And you observe as if someone else. Then you can see it's jumping into the eye. And if you skillful enough, if you efficient enough to understand, now I am no more mindful on the leg, but on the eye, but to not to worry, but to understand how quickly from the leg to the eye, the jumping happens. Is it my agenda? Whose agenda? And by regretting, what I am going to get? You will be promoting ignorance. So can Buddha safely advise you, darling, main thing is not to worry. Don't worry. Just take it as a challenge. Because it is not done by your wish. It's happening. So if you are going to regret, your whole stream of consciousness will be panicky. But be aware. But are you going to be aware? Your channel changed. Consciousness now jump into the I. Take an example. When I am getting ordained, that means since 88. In Sri Lanka we have televisions. We had only black and white, and the colored is about to come. I can't afford. I had a black and white at home. And 6 channels, including Indian channels. So whenever we open one channel, you know other 5 channels are shut off. You can't imagine what is happening in the other channels. When you are changing to another channel, the already existing channel gone. So our television also something like that. If you are open to the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind door closed. If it is open to the sound, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body gone. So far you are with the body, it is very tactile, very gross. Now it is changing the channel without your involvement. We are painting a picture. And if we are to be mindful to this changed situation, it is not moral restraint. It is far beyond concentration restraint. Concentration restraint is to keep your attention with the leg. As far as you are successful with the left leg, right leg, right leg, that's it. But now channel changed. Under such circumstances, that is called restraining of your faculties. First time you understand faculties are working not according to your agenda. You are an utter slave from morning to evening. Whatever the position you are, whether male or female, whether ordained or non-ordained, unpredictable. So, under this situation, if it is so, at the deathbed, what will happen? Where will you end up with? So that is why people are very frightened to think about the death. Because in the experimental level also, it is disheartening. It is something not happy happen. But leave everything aside, take this as a wisdom restraint, and observe how unmindful situation, how the mindful situation, unmindful situation is a deductive. It's an inferential, you can do it because unmindful, you can analyze it, you don't know what is happening. Once you become mindful, you can see if I am not skillfully mindful, this is what happened so far in my life and this is the situation. So when such a thing happen, if you can report as such, this is what Bhante happened, I was walking left, right, at the end I see something, I hear something, immediately I can understand or I cannot understand how the channel changed. And this is how when I am understand, this is how it is not understand, and whether the situation is under control or not. So it's a very, very challenging kind of a restraint, at least to understand or at least to accept it. So towards that, I selected one particular sutta, very clearly explained and sharing with us. That is in Samyutta Nikaya, it is called Malunkyaputta Sutta. In Sinhala sermons, I often quote it. Malunkyaputta was a very old person, went to the Buddha and asked Bhante, enough means enough. I will go to a solitude place and I will meditate, and without much of a relationship, please give me instructions. Then the Buddha said, I have given enough. You bloody old fellows coming and asking personal instructions, I am not going to give. Something like make a kind of a grudge. But not, of course, disheartening. He says, okay, I am going to ask you questions and answer as you will. Then the Buddha says, Chakku viññaya rūpa adittang adittu pubbam na passati na passissanti santiche ragangva pemangva chandangva. O Malunkyaputta, there is some object, visual object, which you can perceive by the eye or visual sensitivity. You have never seen that. You are not looking at it now. You are not about to see it now. And in future also you will never see. There are some such objects, visual objects. Can there be any kind of defilements? Ragangva, chandangva, pemangva. Desirability or undesirability. So the unseen thing is there. You have never seen, not in front of you. You can't, it is not visual. And in future also assured you will not see. Can there be any kind of defilements? Can there be any turbulence in your mind? No. So a lot of objects are there. Only come in view with, only avenue to your visual object, only can disturb your mind. So you go to carnival. You go to the supermarket and you decide which one you should look into. But what must be in avenue with. So this is only going to give the defilements. Or not everything in the supermarket, whatever you are looking for. So therefore your packet of defilement, you are the one selecting. It's a pre-plan, according to your advertisement running it throughout the day. And so you go and decide in which way you must develop desire. And whenever desire is not there, it is naturally hatred. And not knowing that is the ignorance. And you think that things are disturbing me, and things are bringing defilements, hatred, desire, ignorance. But who selected? Who is appointing these things? Your bloody foolishness. Your bloody idiotness. You select. If it is not avenued with, if it is not confronted with, if it is not face to face with, never disturb you. And then the Buddha asks the same with the sounds. You have never heard, you are not hearing, you are not happen to hear, and in the future you will not hear. And with these kind of sounds, will there be any kind of a chandangva, pepangva, ragangva? Desire, happiness, or idea like may it be with me, is kind of no. Instead it's going for 6 channels. And that is the way the Buddha is giving the instructions to the Malunki Buddha. And then the Malunki Buddha is contemplating and to help support Maha is taking this event after the Malunki Buddha's answer. He says, world is full of visual objects, full of sounds, thoughts, smells, taste. Whatever we like, we bring it home. At home, we are full of raga, dosa, moha. And we say it's very difficult to meditate at home. For sure. So you are happy to come to the Nissarana. There you come and say, the desirable visions are not here, desirable sounds are not here, foods are not tasty. So much of complaint. So the same bloody fool. At home, full of raga, prema, chanda. When you come here, and you imagine you somehow the other manage to be with the Nissarana, and think about your family members. They will think that these bloody fellows are having all the comfort and the amenities at home. They go to Nissarana and nothing to eat at the night and just doing walking and sitting. There may be something psychologically upset, pathogenic. And on top of that, you go there and see, I see Udyabbe Jnana, I see Sankara Vitakka Jnana, Sankara Upekka Jnana, and they know definitely you are crack, finished, no hope. And leave aside how family members sing about your mentality. This is the methodology Buddha is telling, and you come here, and all the things are not what you appointed. Your interior decoration is not this one. This is not decorated interior. Exterior decoration also, there are dogs and monkeys and usually vomiting and spitting everywhere. Very nice. And you are not happy. And all the other things are not happy. So you have to go in that, you say, what about Bande decorating right around the Nissarana, so much it will cost, and 25% of the construction, I am happy to give 10%. We'll put a landscaping, have a waterfall up there. Why not? Well, you would not leave it like this if it is at your jurisdiction. So this is how happening. So now Mahashishayado is telling, everything to be tortured, we are purchasing. We collect our right round, and whenever our stream of consciousness is covered by the desire and the hatred and the ignorance, we appear like very innocent. I don't know why this is so much of desire at home. Why so much of fighting at home? Why that ignorance is at home? Because that is your own, how to call, porake, I don't know how to put in English, your own torturing machine. That is what you call household. You have prepared your own, and you are always pouring, always proliferating the desire. Hatred. Desire is the shadow of the desire, the hatred. And you are trying to utterly be ignorant, telling me, if that is the case, whole population is wrong, must be. Because they are always behind desirable things. I am also going by the trend. 99% waiting to have this kind of desirable thing, but 1% maybe go to a forest and sit under a tree and go to a solitude place. So therefore they must be something crack. But the majority are like this. So therefore internally so much of ayoniso manasikara, the thinking to justify your own desire. Occasionally there are ayoniso manasikara telling, anyone who has achieved this all visual, sounds and everything, at the deathbed they are utterly desperate. Utterly desperate. Because all the wild animals are pulling. So whenever you try to see who trigger it, who is deciding from leg to the eye, leg to the ear, ear to eye, whatever may be, you have to accept. No governability. And who is having personality, who is having the strength to accept it. If you are ready to accept it, the path is there. First and foremost, under your very nose, you have to understand, each time you go to the end and turning, you are losing the control of your senses. Which one is going to take the upper hand, you don't know. But the Buddha has given the reckoner, ready reckoner, eye is the first, and then the sound, then the smell, then the taste, like it happened. So whenever it happens, whenever mind is running out of your primary object, and to know, now my consciousness is in the eye, and if you are mindful at that level, that means you are not mindful on your primary object, but mindful on the secondary object. So this is the way of presentation by Venerable Malunke Buddha. He says, Bhante, if I got the point that what we are going to explain, this is what I gathered. At the beginning he says, whenever mind is not mindful or unmindful, Rupandisa sati mutta piyanimittam manasikaroti. Bhante, whenever I am not mindful, whenever I am not prepared, whenever I hate going out, this is the kind of agitated mind we are. So we can say unmindful mind, but the person who is talking is not unmindful, he is deduce it. Rupandisa sati mutta piyanimittam manasikaroti. Whenever your eye or your consciousness go to the eye door, that means your walking and touching is very boring and monotonous. Instead, seeing object is very attractive, very dramatic. Rupandisa sati mutta piyanimittam manasikarati. It appears piyanimittam, that is a desirable object is when compared to your monotonous left leg, right leg, boring left leg, right leg, visual thing appear very attractive. So it's one step. He says, Rupandiswa sati mutta piyanimittam manasikaroti. So you to understand, your mind is always happy to go from undefiled situation to defiled situation. Your mind is always happy to go to desire, the hatred, that the ignorance, even if it is given the platform, which is free from desire, free from hatred, free from ignorance. That untrained mind, uninstructed mind considers boring, considers monotonous, considers uncertainty, consider as something like punishment. Morning to evening, left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. What the hell is that? Mind is jumping without prior notice. And to notice that, to you to understand, if I can keep one more left leg and right leg, that is something distinct, something vishesha. That is what you call the wisdom training. It is naturally going to the pure state or skillful state to the unskillful state. And knowing that without regretting, without inferiority, you can understand this is the situation. This is what the given base. Everyone's mind is like that. But it is not a disqualifying thing. It is not making a permanent damage. Be aware. To be aware, you must know how to maintain mindfulness is sitting meditation, closed eyes, no sounds, everything. Armed with that, you are doing walking with one step, with one intention, left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. And you are turning. There, mind is jumping to the leg, to the eye. Now you know. It happened, still you don't know because of lack of mindfulness, lack of vigilance, lack of diligence. But you know because the external object you are observing now is more attractive than the touch of the leg. It's a universal truth. It's a universal truth. Whatever the thing you are repetitively doing, its taste is disappearing. It has become less dramatic. It is become less attractive. So if you wish to make it attractive, dramatic, that means you must have enough amount of defilements. Enough amount of desire, hatred and the ignorance. So whatever you search in search of dramatic things or advertisements, technology, infrastructure, new creation, new production, where are we? It appears like very conservative, very, nihilistic. So I am presenting it for you to practice and see. Rupandisa satimutta piyanimitta mansika Rupandisa satimutta piyanimitta mansikaroti saratta citto veteti tancha ajjosa tittati. He is happy. What a beautiful scene, things. Because I was in the boring thing, and this is not you think, but is what happened. You very happy to have something new, something dramatic. Saratta citto vedi tancha ajjosa tittati, and start thinking, what a beautiful bird. At our garden it is not there, but you have to come to Nissarana Vanaya. This bird is specific. The length is like this, color is like this, voice is like this, and you start ajjosati, you go into it. How you go into it is, you see details. If you wish to go into the more defilements, you have to see the characteristics, all the small features of the bird, so much so you plunge into the bird, so much so you away from your primary object, so much so you are away from your lack of defilements, skillfulness, go there. So the Buddha says, Vyanjana, Anuvyanjana, Anga Pratyanga, all details of the word, you are scrutinizing. Because you need so much of defilements when compared with this lack of defilement situation. You are happy with so much of unskillfulness compared to the skillfulness. So it's no second person involved. And even you are not appreciating it. But that is what happened under your very nose. Can you be, with the unbiased mind, see it as and when it happens? And you are to verify it. Yes, it is true or not. Tassa vadati vedana aneka arupa sambhavai. Try to fabricate stories now. This bird is so and so, and because it's so you hate so much you are walking. So much so, fabrication happened. Tassa vaddati vedana aneka rupa sambhava. He says this is maybe a male, female may be more beautiful, or this may be a male, but the male must be beautiful. We have to search where is the mate. And you are looking at, compared to the bird, who is answering this bird's crying, and you are tassa vaddati vedana, you keep on bird looking. Whether you are with the 8 precepts or no problem. Whether you are in the walking path or no problem. Wherever may be, this is the way our mind is working. Tassa vaddati vedana aneka rupa sambhava. And each and every, this step, it is leading to raga dosa moha. That means akusala mula. And when compared with the uninstructed person, unmindful person, never heard about the Buddha, never heard about Dhamma, never heard about Sangha or defilements, this is not relevant to such a person. He do not know the defilement and undefilement. He do not know skillful and unskillful person. But he is not worrying. You are worrying. That is the only difference. Because of your discipline. So therefore it says, more and more you mindful, immediate characteristic feature is irritation. Irritation is a clear sound, mindfulness is working, but it is working negatively if you are a beginner. But if you are a well-advanced, theoretically advanced person, you know, this irritation is because of restraint. It is not moral restraint. It is not concentration restraint. The wisdom restraint. So therefore, put up with that. Yes, it is irritating. Don't vehemently go back to the leg, but just see. Utterly something happening beyond your control. But your human mind is evolved into such a level, you can look at that whole panorama critically. You can look at it in a radical way. You can look at it against the grain. And that is we call vipassana. It's a kind of a radical way of reflecting. And whenever you are to understand that you are completely wrong, but you measure, you understand how much I am wrong, what are the proximate factors, how it happens. So when that kind of contemplation, when that kind of deductive knowledge or rational knowledge happen, do you think that depend on the male and female character? Do you think that depend on the ordained and unordained character? Do you think, does it depend upon the Buddhist and non-Buddhist? Nothing. Whether you are learned or not, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are young, middle age or old age, is exactly the same. So the moment you understand, if something happened, but still I can analyze it, because the Buddha appreciated, Malunka Buddha is giving the mechanism, and I am not meditating upon my enlightenment, I am meditating upon to understand the human mind. This everyone is the same. So therefore it's a great service not to worry and to understand. But your mind is proliferating defilements. You can see your idiotness. You can see your unskillfulness. But you are the seeing. And it is not someone painted for you. There is something happening. So that is called the immunity. That is called the personality. So that is what lacking in the world today. We are finding escapism. We wanted to have an agent to come and help us. Omnipotent, omnipresent, God will come and save us. Oh, Metteye the Buddha to come. This Buddha is already discharged and it is not very effective. So we'll wait the Buddha to come. Buddha will come and put back into the legs. And that is what the Buddhism is teaching. That is what the Buddhism is teaching. But the Dhamma is giving the complete responsibility to you, darling, put up with this irritation. That is a very clear sign, mind is working, appear like negative, but put into a paper. Keep reporting to someone. This is not only you. It's happening all the time, so therefore take it. And the Manukya Buddha is concluding, Evaṁ apacinato dukkhaṁ nibbānasaiva santike. At that moment, when the mind is astray, mind is worried, wondered, bewildered, fantasizing, daydreaming, as you know that you are not accumulating demerits, you are very close to Nibbana. This defilements, the mechanism of defilement, I will put it there, the understanding of this mechanism of defilement is what you call skillfulness. That is what you call lack of defilements. So this is black and white difference. If you are ready to go and on the spot red-handed, if you can observe without judgmental, without telling I am such a bad character, I am bewildered and fantasizing. So if you can look at it, you can see Nibbānasaiva santike. It is the balance part is up to me. It is not showing, not proving you are impotent. Not showing there's a permanent damage it happens. By damage, by mistake, by bewildering only, you can understand your mind. So, mindfulness, what is the role of mindfulness? It's also part and parcel of the mind. Mindfulness is like a satellite going away from the earth and look at the earth from the outside. Or fixing a video camera and you perform and later go and see what is recorded in the video camera. So you can go actions replay, slow motion. What happened? Many are not happy to change their clothes in front of a camera. If you are in a glass house, you will not change your clothes. Because that your nakedness will come out. You feel like you are born with clothes. Bloody fools. The nakedness is the nature. So you don't go to the glass houses to change that. So that is why people are not happy to go to the forest. They are not happy to go to sit under a tree. They are not happy to go to the solitude place because they feel exposed. They feel something vulnerable. So when such a thing happens, if you can see through, if you can understand how naked we are, how cussed we are, how ill-mannered we are, I mean mind-wise, so always going there is the truth. And seeing, observing on the spot is the skillfulness. So how much mindfulness you must have, how much steadfast it should be, how much diversified it should be, how much risk-loving you must be, how much against the grain you must be. Does Buddhism appreciate it? Does Buddhists understand that non-Buddhists also can go up to that level? No, we call, no. It is only for the Sinhalese Buddhist. We can do it, so therefore others, if they are doing, they are robbing. The bloody Sinhalese Buddhists never do it. Irony is that. They are destined, of course, they are heritage. So when you go to the Satipasala and asking children, the parents and the teachers, have you heard about Sati, mindfulness? No one. But they are 70% Buddhists. And they are asking, have you ever read about this mindfulness in the English papers or something like that? So hardly any we can understand, we can come across such people. But they say this truth must not be go to the non-Buddhist, it must be our heritage, but we are also not practicing. So my life for 40 years, the very first day I heard about this, I thought this is the way out, this is the key. I am utter fool. It took 8 years for me to put into practice. I went behind Venerable Dhammika and went behind the Buddhist Publication Society, went behind the Veluwana Dhamma group. I was like an unborn baby like. I found they are top class knowledge. They are practicing. Who am I? I am no one. So later they told, you have that unassuming character. At that time my English was so bad, so poor, I don't know what does it mean by unassuming. One day, one professor wrote me a character certificate. Not in a letter heading. He told that guy is unassuming. I told that is blame. Unassuming. You have to be unassuming to measure and gauge how our mind is happy with ignorance and attributing to someone. So therefore, when it happens, so under the label of diversification of mindfulness, just see on the spot, without judgmental, without the premeditative ideas, without the prejudgmental ideas, without the script in your mind, what is happening. And no one will think that the Buddha is appreciating that kind of thing. But in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, this one, and many other places, the Buddha says, with the help of moral restraint, with the help of concentration restraint, and when you are preparing for the wisdom restraint, this is the threshold. You have to go beyond and put yourself into this dangerous situation, irritating situation, self-critical situation, finding fault with other situation, and expecting the all pedantic situation. Still if you are doing this experiment, it is happening just in front of a defilement, just in front of uncontrollable situation, just under the unpredictable situation. That is why it is called against the grain. But you have prepared, you have made sure mindfulness is intact, my faith is intact, my morality is intact. So it is not a mishap. You must take it as a blessing in disguise and be aware. But you may find it is very difficult as and when it happens. But you can train yourself, prepare yourself. That means your Suttame Jnana and Chintame Jnana can give a backup. Suttame Jnana means you have to read again and again the Malukya Sutta and Bahya Sutta, and there the Buddha says, go ahead and do. But the interpretations are completely often misleading. And then you have to contemplate it, deductive way, or deduce, inferential way. Can that be possible? And if you read, each and every scientific discovery is an accident. Never planned. Every discovery is not a planned one. The biggest amount of discoveries happen during the Second World War, where they kill vehemently people. And they can understand when we are killing, we can put into practice. So they have to rush, have to do the arsenals and dangerous equipments, weapons. And they kill the people without looking at their face. And when that happens, so much of thing came out. And we call the bloody science. It's utter mistake in the human development. They bloody fools, they have never heard that the Buddha appeared on 2600 years. There are books right from the beginning. They are talking about their fathers and forefathers, all the foolish generation. They don't know. The omniscient one is here. And we bloody Sri Lankans also give that value more, scientific values, knowing. And if you can look from the scientific interpretation and physical, mental analysis and kind of thing, what a darkness. And now, of course, during our age, the linkage is now happening, East-West dialogue. They have coined the words, mind science. Earlier they told mind is mystics. Don't talk about because it is none of the science. But now they are merging for this, good for us. Meditating. So while you are meditating, you can put even the Western neuroscience, Western psychology, Western materiality, and we can understand we are much advanced as far as the theoretical knowledge is concerned. But if you are not put into practice, no use. And you may say the defiled situation is far away from the undefiled situation. Skillfulness is far away from the unskillful situation. But when you are at danger, when you are at unmindful situation, and if you are unworried, And if you have to observe how the mind jumping from the leg to the eye, and then why it is appreciating these visual objects, because you hate your primary object. You hate your mindfulness. Because whenever the mindfulness happens, irritation sets in. So if you can understand that irritation together with mindfulness, that is what you call the first noble truth. That's the truth of suffering. Whenever mindfulness happens, irritation comes into being. Because you are face to face it. And if you are going to ask the knowledge of mindfulness without irritation, mind you, it is something artificial. So when you are practicing mindfulness, you have certain amount of tension, certain amount of frustration. That is a good sign. That's a good symptom. You are engaged. And the Buddha says that tension, that frustration is keeping you away from the worldly frustration. Cut off you from the worldly tension. You are worrying something upon non-object. When and where the mind is face to face with the object, that's the irritation. It is always searching to jump into seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, because the mindfulness, very mindfulness is creating kind of frustration. No one is happy to talk about that. As you are advancing, you find the mindfulness is appointing a kind of irritation so that you cut off from the rest of the world. Otherwise there is no way out. So therefore you have to appreciate that irritation. You have to appreciate your self-critical nature. You have to appreciate it is finding fault with others and making stories. Yes. That is the way. So you have to sympathetic with that and keep on practicing when and where threshold you have been transgressing from the mindful, so-called samatha mindfulness and go into the vipassana mindfulness. Let the mind to play hell. Send the kites, no problem. Be aware. How it is changing from your safe land, from the oasis to the unsafe area. From the undefiled situation to the defiled situation. From the unblemished to the blemished. Because it is not done by you. It is something happening. So if you go prepared with the mindfulness, vigilance and diligently, and you can understand whether you like it or not, situation is not under control. At least, now you can see, tassa vaddati vedana aneka rupa sambhava. Because that seeing is beautiful because you hate your primary object. Whenever you be with in-breath and out-breath, whenever you will be with left leg and right leg, more you be with it, the desirability is reducing. So the Buddha says, desirability and craving, desire is the samsara. When it is reducing, it is more to the Nibbana, but you hate it. You hate Nibbana. You hate freedom. And you are happy with raga, dvesa, moha, happy like family members, blood relatives. Without that you feel alienated. So therefore don't prescribe this in society at large. Never it works. But I can take it as a challenge and continue, and no one can block. But for that, not only preparedness, not only your will is enough. You must have your trial and error. You must have your own mistakes. And 1001 times you may do mistakes. No problem. It is been known as noble quest. You are allowed to do any mistake, but with the idea, one day I will catch the fellow red-handed. Not the first time, not the second time, not the third time. And when it is happening, it's an utter release of the tension. You will never accuse yourself then onward, because it is not happening with your own will. Your willful action is walking, but jumping from the walking to the others, that is predestined. I am telling it is predestined with the meaning. I will take it to the tomorrow and expand further into, and slowly how can put that into our day-to-day life. That is the way mindfulness is diversifying. Thank you very much for listening.